Drop the broom and handle this weapon. Now. Admiral Marcus Hale shoves his jammed SR-25 rifle into the janitor's hands, while 20 Navy SEALs burst out laughing. The woman with graying hair and chemical-stained fingers was supposed to be cleaning brass casings, not touching a weapon worth more than her yearly salary. She probably needs both hands just to hold it steady, Rodriguez mocks, filming on his phone. Careful, Grandma, that's not a mop. The 49-year-old woman named Tegan doesn't respond. Her thumb finds the safety in under a second. Her index finger indexes perfectly along the receiver. The muscle memory is instant, automatic. 18 years of hiding erased in one motion. Behind them, the range computer screen shows a line nobody notices. After hours access 0300 daily. 6,570 consecutive nights. Peterson steps closer, still recording. This is hilarious. The janitor thinks she knows guns. The entire SEAL platoon crowds around to watch the old cleaning lady embarrass herself with military hardware. Tegan's breathing shifts to a 4-count pattern. In, hold, out, hold. The same pattern drilled into every military sniper since Vietnam. Admiral Hale's eyes narrow slightly. He's seen that breathing pattern before, but where? 7 seconds from now, everything these SEALs believe about combat expertise will shatter. The woman they call Bucket Lady is about to show them why some ghosts never rest. They keep laughing, completely certain this will end like every other joke at a civilian's expense. The Coronado Range sits empty except for this midnight training session. Salt air from the Pacific mixes with cordite and gun oil. Floodlights cast harsh shadows across the concrete firing positions where brass casings glitter like fallen stars. The SEALs have been running night drills for 3 hours, their rifles still warm from sustained fire. Tegan had been working her way down the firing line with her push broom and rolling bucket, the same routine she's followed every night since 2006. Sweep the brass into neat piles, dump them in the recycling drums, wipe down the benches, check the target mechanisms. Simple work that keeps her close to the only life she's ever known. The SR-25 in her hands weighs 20 pounds loaded. The SEALs watch, expecting her arms to shake, her grip to fail. Rodriguez zooms his phone camera on her face, ready to capture the moment she drops their Admiral's prize rifle. Instead, Tegan's left hand finds the exact pressure point on the handguard. Her right thumb rests precisely where the selector switch meets the lower receiver. She doesn't look at the weapon. Her fingers read it like Braille, cataloging every component by touch alone. Bolt carrier group seized at half lock, she says quietly. Chamber pressure exceeded tolerance on the last round. The gas ports partially obstructed. The laughter stops for exactly 1 second. Then Wagner, a lieutenant with fresh pin-on insignia, steps forward with a sneer. She Googled that. Anyone can memorize gun problems from YouTube. Admiral Hale watches Tegan's hands move across the weapon with surgical precision. She's not fumbling or guessing. She's diagnosing. Her fingers pause at the forward assist, detecting a microscopic burr in the metal that shouldn't exist. Round 5 in your magazine was damaged. Tegan continues, her voice barely above a whisper. Dented case rim, probably from a bad feed. The extractor couldn't grip properly. You're lucky it jammed instead of firing out of battery. Peterson lowers his phone slightly. His cousin lost 3 fingers last year when a rifle fired out of a battery. The statistical odds of a janitor knowing that level of detail approach 0. Clear the weapon. Admiral Hale's voice cuts through the murmuring crowd. His weathered face remains neutral, but something flickers behind his eyes. Recognition? Calculation? He's been in the teams for 38 years. He's seen every type of warrior, poser, and wannabe. This woman fits none of those categories. Tegan performs the clearing drill with mechanical efficiency. Magazine out, bolt locked open, visual inspection of the chamber, finger sweep to verify empty. The movements flow together like water, each action bleeding seamlessly into the next. No hesitation, no thought required. She hands the cleared rifle back to the Admiral. The magazine needs inspection. 3 more rounds show stress fractures under magnification. Rodriguez steps closer, his 6'2" frame towering over Tegan's 5'6". His phone camera stays focused on her face. Look at the expert janitor. Hey lady, where'd you get your weapons training? Call of Duty? The other SEALs laugh again, but it's different now. Forced, uncertain. Something about the way she handled that rifle doesn't match the gray coveralls and mop bucket. Her hands never trembled despite the weapon's weight. Her stance automatically adjusted to support the rifle's center of gravity. Master Chief Torres emerges from the range office, his thick neck red from a recent sunburn. The 17-year veteran takes one look at the scene and immediately goes into security mode. "What's happening here, Admiral?" "Weapon malfunction," Hale replies, still watching Tegan. "Our janitor helped diagnose it." Torres's eyes narrow to slits. "Civilians aren't authorized to handle weapons on a military range. I need to see identification. Now." Tegan reaches into her coverall pocket and produces a laminated badge. The photo shows her face from 5 years ago, less gray in her brown hair, but the same hollow expression. The badge reads simply, T. Caldwell, Custodial Services, Level 1 Clearance. Level 1. Torres announces loud enough for everyone to hear. That's the lowest security classification on base. She shouldn't even be here during live fire exercises. She cleans after hours. Admiral Hale interjects, "Every night for how many years?" Tegan doesn't answer. She bends to pick up her broom, but Rodriguez blocks her path. His broad shoulders cast her in shadow. "Hold up, Grandma. You think you're some kind of expert? Prove it." The young SEAL's arrogance saturates every word. He's 25, fresh from his 3rd deployment, full of the invincibility that comes from surviving what kills other men. To him, this middle-aged janitor represents everything soft and weak about the civilian world. "Move," Tegan says. One word. Quiet but carrying an edge that makes Rodriguez blink. If watching veterans get mocked by people who should respect them makes your blood boil, hit that like button right now and subscribe. Sometimes the most dangerous person in the room is the one holding a mop, not a rifle. Let's make sure their stories get told. Rodriguez doesn't move. Instead, he reaches for Tegan's badge, intending to examine it more closely. His fingers close on the plastic, but her hand intercepts his wrist with surprising speed. Not a grab. Just a redirection that turns his momentum against him, making him stumble slightly to the left. "Don't touch me." She releases his wrist and steps back. Peterson starts a new recording. "Janitor just assaulted a SEAL. This is going viral." He pans his camera across the group, capturing their mix of amusement and confusion. But Admiral Hale hasn't looked away from Tegan once. That wrist deflection wasn't random. It's a specific technique taught in close-quarters combat schools. More importantly, she used exactly enough force to redirect without causing injury. That level of control takes years to develop. Master Chief Torres pulls out his own phone, typing rapidly. "I'm running a background check. Something's not right here." While Torres searches databases, Lieutenant Wagner approaches with the cocky swagger of someone who's never been truly humbled. He carries a rifle case containing his personal MK-12 special purpose rifle. "You know so much about weapons, Janitor? Tell me what's wrong with this one." He sets the case on the bench and opens it with theatrical flair. The rifle inside gleams with custom modifications. Match-grade barrel, aftermarket trigger, precision scope that costs more than most cars. Wagner's pride and joy, the weapon that helped him graduate top of his sniper school class. Tegan glances at it for exactly 2 seconds. Scope's canted 0.3 mils right. Your groups must drift at distance. Wagner's smile falters. The scope cant is so minor, he only noticed it last week using laser bore sighting equipment. No one can detect that deviation with the naked eye. No one. Lucky guess. He manages, but his voice lacks conviction. 4 other rifles sit in the rack behind Wagner, waiting for the next training rotation. Tegan's eyes sweep across them in a single pass. That one's got a loose gas block. She points to an M4 on the left. Second from right has a cracked buffer tube. Won't fail today, but will within 50 rounds. The one on the end has aftermarket parts that void its warranty. Trigger group specifically. Each SEAL checks the rifle she indicated. Daniels finds his gas block finger loose. Miller discovers hairline cracks in his buffer tube. Cooper realizes his new trigger was indeed installed last week, without authorization. The range falls silent except for the distant crash of Pacific waves. 20 of the Navy's elite warriors stand frozen, processing what they're witnessing. This isn't possible. Janitors don't diagnose weapon failures by sight. Cleaning ladies don't detect microscopic scope adjustments. "Who are you?" Admiral Hale asks directly. Tegan picks up her mop. "The name on the badge is accurate, sir." "That's not what I asked." She starts pushing her bucket toward the next firing position. "I'm the person who cleans up after you're done training. Every night. 0300 to 0600. Brass casings and carbon residue don't clean themselves." Master Chief Torres looks up from his phone, frustration creasing his forehead. Her background check comes back clean. Too clean. Tegan Caldwell, born in Milwaukee, graduated high school, worked various service jobs. No military record, no arrests, no special training. It's like she materialized out of nowhere 18 years ago. Rodriguez recovers his bravado, stepping into Tegan's path again. You haven't proven anything. Anyone can point at rifles and make up problems. Doesn't mean you can shoot. I'm not here to shoot. She tries to move around him, but Admiral Hale's voice stops her. Actually, you are. That's an order. The Admiral's words hang in the salt air like a challenge. Every SEAL present knows that tone. It's the voice that's commanded men in places where orders mean life or death. It's not a request. Tegan's hands tighten on the mop handle. Sir, I'm civilian custodial staff. I don't take military orders. You're on a military installation, handling military weapons, with knowledge that suggests military training. Hale's eyes never leave hers. Either you demonstrate this expertise properly, or we have a security situation requiring immediate investigation. The threat is clear. Cooperate or face interrogation about how a janitor knows classified weapon specifications. Several SEALs shift positions, subtly blocking potential exits. This has escalated from mockery to potential security breach. Peterson keeps filming. This is insane. The Admiral's making a janitor shoot. His followers will eat this up. The video already has 300 views and climbing. Daniels, standing near the back, sends a quick text to someone. His fingers move rapidly across his phone screen. Then he deletes the message immediately. No one notices except Tegan, who catches the movement in her peripheral vision. Fine. She sets down her mop with careful precision. One shot. Then I go back to work. Admiral Hale selects a rifle from the rack, a standard M4 with iron sights, nothing special. He loads a single round into a magazine and hands both to Tegan. Targets at 300 yards. Center mass. The SEALs exchange knowing looks. 300 yards with iron sights at night requires exceptional skill. The floodlights help, but shadows play tricks at distance. Most of them would use scopes for that shot. Tegan accepts the rifle without ceremony. She doesn't check the sights or test the trigger pull. Her body simply folds into a prone position, like water finding its level. The rifle becomes an extension of her skeletal structure, supported by bone rather than muscle. Her breathing changes again, not the 4-count pattern from earlier. This is something deeper, slower, a rhythm that drops her heart rate to 40 beats per minute, the kind of biological control that takes decades to master. Rodriguez starts to make another joke, but Cooper elbows him silent. Something about the way Tegan looks through those iron sights stops all commentary. She's not aiming in any conventional sense. She's becoming part of the weapon system, integrating with it at a molecular level. The shot breaks during the natural respiratory pause between heartbeats. The sound cracks across the range, echoing off distant buildings. 300 yards away, the steel target rings with impact. But Tegan doesn't stop at center mass. She's already adjusting, firing the next round before anyone can react. Then another, and another. 10 shots in 15 seconds, each one finding the exact same hole, creating what shooters call a single ragged hole, except she only had one round. The rapid firing motions were dry, the trigger clicking on an empty chamber, but her form never wavered, each imaginary shot perfectly aligned with the first. Admiral Hale walks to the spotting scope to verify impact. When he looks back, his face has changed. The casual interest is gone, replaced by something sharper. That's not just good shooting. That's a specific technique. Ghost protocol, phantom shots to maintain muscle memory between live rounds. Williams, the team's designated marksman, pushes forward through the crowd. Only 3 people in the entire military shoot like that. One's dead, one's in Leavenworth, and the third... He trails off, staring at Tegan as she rises from prone with fluid grace. No grunt of effort despite her age. No adjustment period as blood returns to compressed limbs. She simply stands like she never went down. Did you catch how she checked that rifle? Drop a comment with what you think her real job used to be. The third disappeared 18 years ago. Williams finishes. But Spectre was confirmed KIA in Afghanistan. The name hits the group like a physical blow. Spectre, the ghost sniper, a legend from the early days of the War on Terror. The shooter who never missed, never left trace evidence, never confirmed to exist officially. Stories about Spectre get told in team rooms late at night, myths about impossible shots and impossible missions. That's ridiculous. Wagner protests. Spectre was a man. Everyone knows that. Nobody knows anything, Torres corrects. Spectre was a call sign. The records are so classified they're practically fictional, but the shots were real. 327 confirmed kills, 0 misses on record. Tegan picks up her mop again, her face expressionless. Spectre died in Afghanistan. The official record says so. Official records say lots of things. Admiral Hale walks closer, studying her with new intensity. But bodies tell different stories. That scar on your wrist. He points to a thin white line barely visible under the harsh lights. That's not from cleaning chemicals. That's a through and through from a 7.62 round. She pulls her sleeve down to cover the scar. Workplace accident. Rodriguez, his ego bruised from her earlier deflection, snatches at her sleeve to see the scar better. The fabric tears slightly, revealing not just one scar, but a constellation of them. Precise patterns that speak of violence survived. Tegan jerks away, but the damage is done. Those aren't accidents. Those are war wounds. GSW patterns, shrapnel spray, the kind of damage that accumulates over multiple combat tours. You're wrong. Her voice remains level, but something flickers behind her eyes. The first real emotion she's shown. Fear? Anger? Or something deeper? Master Chief Torres types furiously on his phone. I'm checking military medical databases. Scarring patterns are like fingerprints. If you served, there's a record. There's no record, Tegan states with certainty. Because someone erased it, Admiral Hale suggests. Or because someone wanted you erased. A new voice cuts through the tension. What's happening on my range at 2300 hours? Lieutenant Colonel Harris emerges from the shadows near the range office. He's been there the whole time, watching from the darkness. His appearance should be reassuring, a senior officer taking control. Instead, something about his presence makes the air feel colder. Harris is 48, built like a boxer gone slightly soft, with eyes that never quite focus on what they're looking at. He wears his uniform perfectly, every ribbon and qualification badge precisely placed, but medals can't hide the predator beneath. Sir, Admiral Hale acknowledges him with minimal courtesy. They're equal rank, but Harris has bureaucratic authority over the range. We had a weapon malfunction. This civilian assisted. Harris's gaze lands on Tegan and stays there. His pupils dilate slightly, a micro-expression of recognition that lasts less than a second. But Tegan catches it. Her grip on the mop handle shifts subtly, moving her hands to a position that could transition to either defense or offense. Civilians shouldn't handle weapons, Harris states, his voice carrying an odd undertone. It's against regulations. She needs to be removed immediately. She cleared a critical malfunction. Hale responds. Potentially saved lives? I don't care if she saved the president. Rules exist for a reason. Harris steps closer to Tegan, invading her personal space. You look familiar. Have we met? No, sir. Tegan keeps her eyes down, her body language screaming submission. But her feet have shifted into a combat stance, weight balanced for rapid movement. Harris reaches out as if to lift her chin, to force eye contact. The gesture appears paternal, but carries an undercurrent of threat. Before his fingers make contact, Tegan steps back, using her mop bucket as a barrier. I should return to my duties. She starts wheeling the bucket away. Stop, Harris commands. I want her identification verified. Tonight, Torres, run a full security scan. Fingerprints, facial recognition, the works. That seems excessive for a janitor. Admiral Hale interjects. Nothing's excessive when it comes to range safety. Harris's smile doesn't reach his eyes. We've had equipment failures all week, suspicious ones. Maybe our cleaning lady knows something about that. The accusation hangs in the air like poison gas. Several SEALs exchange glances, remembering the recent spate of mechanical failures. Daniels's hand moves to his phone again, but he stops himself. Tegan's knuckles whiten around the mop handle. I've been cleaning this range for 18 years without incident. 18 years, Harris repeats, rolling the number around his mouth like wine. That's a very specific timeline. What happened 18 years ago that brought you here? I needed work. The base was hiring. Rodriguez, emboldened by Harris's aggressive questioning, moves to block Tegan's retreat again. Answer the colonel's question properly. What's your real story? The security lights flicker momentarily. a common occurrence when the base's aging electrical grid struggles with demand. In that split second of darkness, Tegan's entire posture changes. When the lights stabilize, she's moved 6 feet to the left without anyone seeing her take a step. "How did you—" Peterson starts, his camera trying to focus. Williams, who's been quietly observing, suddenly speaks up. "Check the security footage. If she's been coming here for 18 years, there should be thousands of hours of recordings." Master Chief Torres pulls out his tactical tablet, accessing the range's security system. His expression shifts from confident to confused. "That's weird. The system only goes back 72 hours. Everything older has been automatically deleted. That's not right," Wagner protests. "Security footage is supposed to be archived for 5 years minimum." Harris's jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. "Must be a system glitch. I'll have it look into it." But Admiral Hale is already suspicious. In his experience, convenient system failures usually aren't failures at all. "Torres, check the backup servers. Everything's redundant on military installations." While Torres works his tablet, Daniel steps away from the group, typing another quick message on his phone. This time, Tegan isn't the only one who notices. Cooper sees it too, his eyes narrowing at his teammate's secretive behavior. "Sir?" Torres looks up from his screen. The backups have been wiped too, selectively. Only footage from 0300 to 0600 each day. For 18 years. Everyone turns to stare at Tegan. The implications are staggering. Someone has been systematically erasing evidence of her presence for nearly 2 decades. That level of data manipulation requires either massive resources or inside access. Interesting. Harris's voice drops to a dangerous whisper. "Our janitor has a very dedicated guardian angel, or she's been covering her own tracks." Tegan sets her equipment down with deliberate calm. "If I had the ability to hack military security systems, would I be mopping floors for minimum wage? Maybe that's exactly what you'd do." Harris circles her slowly, like a shark sensing blood. "Hide in plain sight. Keep close to potential targets. Wait for the perfect moment." "Targets?" Admiral Hale's voice sharpens. "What are you suggesting, Colonel?" "I'm suggesting we have an unknown individual with extensive weapons knowledge, suspicious scarring, and 18 years of mysteriously deleted surveillance footage." Harris stops directly in front of Tegan. "That's not a janitor. That's a security threat." The SEALs instinctively form a loose circle, training taking over. If Harris is right, they're standing next to a potential enemy operative who's been inside their perimeter for almost 2 decades. "You're making a mistake," Tegan says quietly. "Am I?" Harris pulls out his sidearm, keeping it pointed at the ground but visible. "You won't submit to identification. You demonstrate expert weapon knowledge. The surveillance data about you has been corrupted. Give me one reason not to detain you right now." The range falls silent, except for the distant sound of waves. 20 elite warriors wait for Tegan's response, muscles coiled for action. The woman they mocked as a grandmother now stands at the center of a potential national security incident. She reaches into her pocket slowly, telegraphing the movement to avoid triggering a violent response. What emerges isn't a weapon, but a small metal coin, worn smooth from years of handling. She sets it on the bench with a soft click that somehow carries more weight than Harris's threats. Admiral Hale leans forward to examine it, and his face goes pale. "That's a DevGru Gold Challenge coin, Team 6, but it's not a replica or commemorative version. The serial number, the weight, the specific wear pattern, this is real. This is operational issue. Those aren't given to janitors." Williams states the obvious. "No." Harris agrees, his weapon hand tensing. "They're given to Tier 1 operators. The question is whether she stole it or earned it." Rodriguez laughs nervously. "Come on, sir. You're not seriously suggesting the cleaning lady is special ops?" But nobody else laughs. The evidence is mounting too fast. The weapon knowledge, the shooting technique, the scars, the surveillance gaps, and now a genuine DevGru coin. Each piece alone could be explained away. Together, they paint an impossible picture. "There's one way to settle this," Torres suggests. "The range has a new biometric system. It's not connected to the main network, so it couldn't have been tampered with. It logs everyone who enters, including micro-movements and gait patterns." Harris's expression flickers with something. Concern? Fear? He recovers quickly. "That system's classified. Civilians can't access it." "She's already accessed classified weapons," Admiral Hale counters. "What's one more breach?" Unless you have a reason to keep her data hidden, the challenge in Hale's voice is unmistakable. He's caught something in Harris's reaction, a tell that suggests the lieutenant colonel knows more than he's saying. Fine. Harris holsters his weapon with obvious reluctance. Run the biometric scan. When it comes back showing she's just a janitor with delusions of grandeur, she's banned from this facility permanently. Torres activates the scanning system built into the range's entry checkpoint. Invisible lasers map body dimensions, thermal cameras record heat signatures, and pressure plates analyze weight distribution. The data streams to his tablet in real time. The results appear in seconds. Then Torres nearly drops the tablet. This can't be right. He stares at the screen, then at Tegan, then back at the screen. According to this, her movement patterns match someone in the classified database. Someone with cosmic-level clearance. Who? Harris demands, reaching for the tablet. Torres pulls it back. I can't access the name. It's behind encryption I've never seen before. Just a designation. Delta 77 Whiskey. Status: deceased. Date of death: October 2006. October 2006, 18 years ago. The same time Tegan claims she started working as a janitor. The coincidence is too perfect to be chance. Admiral Hale processes this information with the rapid analysis of a career military strategist. Delta designation means special operations. 77 suggests a specific unit number. Whiskey is phonetic for W. In the classification system, W often indicates witness protection or deep cover status. You're not deceased, he tells Tegan. You're hidden. Someone very powerful wanted you to disappear but stay close. Why? Before Tegan can respond, Daniels' phone buzzes with an incoming message. He glances at it, and his face transforms with panic. He backs away from the group, his hand moving to his sidearm. Nobody move. Daniels' voice cracks with stress. This whole thing is blown. She's not supposed to be identified. If she is, we all... He doesn't finish the sentence because Tegan moves, not the careful, measured movements she's shown before. This is something else. Something that belongs on battlefields, not firing ranges. In less than 2 seconds, she crosses 15 feet, disarms Daniels without touching his weapon hand, and puts him in a control hold that paralyzes his entire right side. His phone falls, the screen showing a message. Spectre compromised. Activate contingency. Every SEAL present draws their weapon by instinct, but they don't know where to point them. At Tegan, at Daniels, at each other. The situation has spiraled beyond their training parameters. Everyone stand down. Admiral Hale commands, his voice cutting through the chaos. Nobody fires. We sort this out without bloodshed. But Harris has his own ideas. His sidearm swings toward Tegan with practiced speed. She's hostile, weapons free. The shot that follows doesn't come from Harris. It comes from behind him. A dart appears in his neck, and he collapses forward, his finger squeezing the trigger as he falls. The bullet sparks off concrete 3 feet from Tegan's position. William stands behind Harris's unconscious form, holding a tranquilizer pistol from the range's wildlife control kit. Sorry, sir, he tells Admiral Hale, but he was about to murder an unarmed civilian. That's not what SEALs do. The range descends into controlled chaos. Half the SEALs maintain security positions while the others secure Harris and Daniels. Torres calls for medical support and military police. Peterson's camera captures everything, the live stream viewer count climbing past 10,000. Through it all, Tegan remains perfectly still, holding Daniels in the control position with minimal effort. Her breathing never accelerates. Her expression never changes. She simply waits for the next development with the patience of someone who survived worse situations. Admiral Hale approaches her slowly, his hands visible and empty. Master Chief, or whatever your actual rank was, we need the truth. Lives are at stake. Tegan meets his eyes for the first time all night. In them, he sees depths of experience that match his own. Pain, loss, duty, sacrifice. The eyes of a warrior who's given everything and lost even more. The truth, sir, is classified beyond your clearance level. Then we need someone with that clearance. Hale pulls out his secure phone. I'm calling JSOC directly. Whatever's happening here is bigger than a range accident. While Admiral Hale makes his call, Master Chief Torres continues analyzing the biometric data on his tablet. Every new piece of information deepens the mystery. The system shows that Tegan's gait pattern has been deliberately altered, like someone trained to walk differently than their natural stride. But Under stress, micro-movements reveal the original pattern underneath. The pattern of someone trained in combat zones. The Admiral's tactical tablet displayed range data in real time. These military-grade devices, built to withstand sand, water, and impact, have become standard equipment for modern training operations. "Sir, we have a problem," Cooper announces from where he's restraining Daniels. His phone just received another message. It says reinforcements are 5 minutes out. "What reinforcements?" Hale demands, but Daniels' eyes have rolled back, foam appearing at his mouth. A false tooth, cyanide capsule, old-school Soviet-style termination protocol. "Medic!" Several SEALs shout simultaneously, but everyone present knows it's too late. Daniels convulses once and goes still. Whatever secret he carried dies with him. Tegan releases the dead man's body with clinical detachment. She's seen death before, too many times. Her eyes scan the perimeter, calculating angles and distances with unconscious precision. "We need to move," she says, breaking her silence. "If Daniels had a handler, they'll sanitize this scene. Standard protocol is white phosphorus. Everyone within 500 meters dies." Rodriguez, despite his earlier mockery, recognizes the truth in her words. He's seen white phosphorus burns in Syria, the chemical fire that water can't extinguish, that burns through flesh and bone alike. Nobody jokes about that. "How do you know their protocols?" Wagner demands, still skeptical despite mounting evidence. But Tegan's already moving, not toward the exits, but to a seemingly random section of wall. Her fingers find hidden latches beneath the paint. A panel swings open, revealing an emergency weapons cache that shouldn't exist. Inside, rifles gleam with fresh oil, ammunition stacked in neat rows. "Because I designed them." She pulls out an M4 with practiced efficiency, checking the chamber and magazine in one smooth motion. 18 years ago, I ran a Black Ops team tasked with creating contingency plans for compromised installations. Someone's using my own playbook against me. Admiral Hale ends his phone call abruptly. JSOC is sending a response team, but they're 20 minutes out. "We don't have 20 minutes if you're right about white phosphorus." Peterson's live stream chat explodes with messages. Military enthusiasts recognize the weapons, the terminology, the very real danger unfolding. The viewer count passes 50,000. Someone at Pentagon Cyber Warfare Division notices and starts tracing the feed's origin. 3 minutes, Tegan announces, her internal clock as precise as any stopwatch. "We go through the underground maintenance tunnels. They're not on standard base maps, but I know the route." "Why should we trust you?" Torres challenges, even as he arms himself from the cache. "For all we know, you're leading us into a trap." Tegan's response is to tear away the lower part of her coverall sleeve, fully revealing her right arm. The scars are bad enough, tissue melted and reformed by extreme heat. But it's the tattoo winding between the damaged skin that makes everyone freeze. The black ink depicts a skull wrapped in parachute silk, a Fairbairn Sykes fighting knife through its eye socket. Above it, barely visible, letters spell out something in Latin. Below, a 6-digit number that military historians would recognize as a date. October 13th, 2006. Holy... William starts, then catches himself. That's not just DevGru. That's Task Force 88. They don't exist. They never existed. Admiral Hale stares at the tattoo with something approaching reverence. 88 was the designation for operations so black they weren't written down. The members were ghosts before they died. Their families thought they worked desk jobs while they destabilized governments and eliminated threats nobody could officially acknowledge. "You're Spectre." He states it as fact, not question. "You survived Operation Blackwater." Tegan pulls her sleeve back down. "Spectre died in Blackwater. I'm just the echo. Now move, or we all join her." The group doesn't need further encouragement. They follow Tegan to what appears to be a solid wall beneath the range's foundation. She inputs a code on a hidden keypad, her fingers moving from muscle memory alone. The wall section slides aside, revealing a narrow tunnel that smells of rust and stagnant water. Single file. Tegan orders, taking point without discussion. "Stay close. No lights." The tunnel has proximity sensors that trigger if they detect illumination. They plunge into darkness so complete it feels solid. The SEALs, trained for night operations, adapt quickly, each man keeping a hand on the shoulder ahead. Their breathing synchronizes automatically, reducing noise signature. Behind them, muffled through tons of concrete, comes the distinctive whistle of incoming ordnance. The range above erupts in chemical fire, white phosphorus turning the night into artificial day. The heat penetrates even through the earth, making the tunnel walls warm to the touch. Peterson keeps streaming despite the darkness, his phone's infrared mode picking up ghostly outlines. The chat fills with disbelief, prayers, and demands for someone to alert authorities. But authorities already know. Satellites have detected the heat bloom. Rapid response teams are mobilizing. 200 meters through the tunnel, Tegan stops at an intersection. 4 passages branch off into deeper darkness. Without hesitation, she chooses the second from the left, leading them through a maze that would confuse anyone without perfect spatial memory. "You've been planning this," Admiral Hale observes. 18 years of mopping floors, and you were memorizing escape routes. "Every night," Tegan confirms. 300 meters ahead, there's a mechanical room with surface access. We can... She stops mid-sentence. Through the darkness comes a sound that doesn't belong, breathing that isn't theirs. Multiple signatures, waiting in ambush position. Contact front. She whispers, the SEALs behind her immediately dropping into combat crouches they can maintain indefinitely. A voice emerges from the darkness ahead. "Hello, Samantha." The use of that name, a name nobody has spoken in 18 years, hits Tegan like a physical blow. Her rifle wavers for just a moment before steadying. Only one person alive knows that name. She responds, her voice carrying deadly intent. "Hello, Marcus. Still hiding behind other people's guns?" Lieutenant Colonel Harris steps into a shaft of emergency lighting that shouldn't be on. He's changed clothes, now wearing black tactical gear without insignia. 4 similarly dressed operators flank him, weapons trained on Tegan's group. "I knew the biometric system would eventually identify you." Harris sounds pleased with himself. 18 years I've waited, wondering when Samantha Reeves would surface again. The Great Spectre, reduced to mopping up shell casings. "That's not her real name either," Rodriguez whispers to Cooper. "Who is this woman?" "I'm the person who refused to murder a village of civilians because Harris wanted to blame it on insurgents." Tegan keeps her rifle aimed at Harris's center mass. 43 women and children. He ordered me to eliminate them all to justify expanding operations into Pakistan. Lies. Harris spits, but several SEALs notice his trigger finger twitching, a nervous tell that suggests otherwise. "You went rogue. You killed your entire team. My team died trying to stop you from calling in an airstrike on those civilians." Tegan's voice remains level, but pain bleeds through the edges. Martinez took 3 bullets covering the evacuation. Thompson burned alive holding the perimeter. Chen and Washington died in the cave-in you caused with that bunker buster you weren't supposed to have. Admiral Hale processes this information with growing fury. "You're describing war crimes. Mass murder of American operators." Harris laughs, an ugly sound in the confined space. "War crimes require wars. We weren't at war in Pakistan in 2006. Officially, none of us were even there. The standoff stretches taut as piano wire. 8 weapons pointed at 20, but in these confined quarters, everyone dies if shooting starts. The tunnel offers no cover, no room to maneuver. It would be a massacre on both sides. You made one mistake, Marcus." Tegan shifts her stance minutely, something the SEALs recognize as preparation for violence. "You let me live. That wasn't a mistake." Harris grins. "That was the deal. You disappear, stay silent, and I don't hunt down everyone you ever cared about. Your sister in Milwaukee, your nephew in Seattle, that ex-boyfriend in Denver. I know where they all are, Samantha. One word from me and they start having accidents." The cruelty of it makes several SEALs adjust their aim toward Harris. They've all fought enemies, but this is different. This is betrayal from within, corruption at a level that threatens everything they believe in. Some SEALs quietly mentioned using veteran-focused financial advisors, specialists who understand the unique challenges of transitioning from military pay structures to civilian retirement planning. But you couldn't leave it alone. Tegan continues as if Harris hasn't spoken. "You had to come back, had to start recruiting again. Daniels was one of yours, wasn't he? How many others have you corrupted?" "Enough." Harris's confidence wavers slightly. "Enough to ensure the job gets done this time. You should have stayed hidden, Samantha. Should have kept mopping floors and pretending to be nobody." Williams, who has been silently calculating angles and odds, makes a decision. He whispers something to Admiral Hale, who nods almost imperceptibly. The message passes backward through the team in barely audible breaths. Tegan catches the movement in her peripheral vision. These SEALs, who hours ago mocked her as a grandmother, are preparing to follow her lead. The trust is humbling and terrifying in equal measure. "I did stay hidden," she tells Harris. "For 18 years, I mopped your floors, cleaned your weapons, listened to your conversations. I know every dirty deal you've made, every operator you've burned, every lie you've told. It's all documented. Names, dates, account numbers." Harris's weapon rises slightly. "You're bluffing. You couldn't have." "Range 7, April 2015, Tegan recites from memory. "You met with a cartel representative about allowing drug shipments through military channels. June 2018, you sold classified weapons to militants in exchange for conflict diamonds. December 2020, you arranged the training accident that killed Lieutenant Morrison because he asked too many questions." Each revelation hits like a hammer blow. The SEALs recognize those incidents, remember the investigations that went nowhere, the questions that were never answered. Morrison had been Cooper's mentor, a good man who died in a repelling accident that never made sense. "Kill her." Harris orders his men, but they hesitate. They have heard too much, learned their leader is a traitor and murderer. That moment of doubt is all Tegan needs. The lights go out completely, emergency power failing as if on cue. In the absolute darkness, violence erupts with precise lethality. The sound is brief but intense, bodies hitting walls, weapons clattering, the distinctive crack of bones breaking. When chemical light sticks illuminate the tunnel 3 seconds later, Harris is on the ground, his men disarmed and zip-tied with their own restraints. Tegan stands in the same position, as if she never moved, but her rifle now holds Harris's ammunition magazine, while his weapon lies field-stripped at her feet. How? Rodriguez can't finish the question. Muscle memory. Tegan explains simply. "I spent 6 years learning to fight in complete darkness." Harris spent 6 years sitting behind a desk getting soft. Admiral Hale steps forward, his presence commanding even in the eerie green light. "Colonel Harris, by the authority vested in me by the Uniform Code of Military Justice, I'm placing you under arrest for treason, murder, and conduct unbecoming an officer. You can't." Harris struggles against the zip ties. "I have immunity deals, protection from people you can't imagine. Your protection, just burn down a military facility to kill witnesses." Hale counters. "They've abandoned you. You're done." The sound of approaching footsteps echoes through the tunnel. Multiple signatures, moving with tactical precision. Everyone raises weapons again, but Tegan lowers hers. "Friendlies," she announces. "JSOC response team. They're using movement pattern Alpha 7. How can you know that from footstep sounds?" Wagner demands. "Because I created Alpha 7. Tegan sets her weapon down completely, along with the rest of the tactical manual they're using. The response team emerges from the darkness, weapons ready but not aggressive. Their leader, a woman in her 40s with colonel's insignia, stops dead when she sees Tegan. "Samantha?" Colonel Rebecca Chen's voice carries disbelief and something else. "Joy? Relief? We thought you were dead. We all thought. After Blackwater, I was dead," Tegan responds. Dead was safer for everyone. Chen pulls off her tactical helmet, revealing features marked by years of combat. She was beautiful once, before IEDs and firefights carved their history into her face. "You saved my life in Kandahar, pulled me out of that burning vehicle when everyone else wrote me off. You would have done the same, but I didn't." Chen steps closer. "You did, just like you saved those civilians Harris wanted dead. Just like you've been standing watch here for 18 years, making sure he couldn't build another death squad. The pieces fall into place for Admiral Hale. You haven't just been hiding, you've been protecting, watching, making sure Harris and others like him couldn't operate freely. Every operative who came through here, I evaluated." Tegan admits. "The good ones, I let train without interference. The questionable ones found their weapons mysteriously malfunctioning, their qualifications delayed, their assignments changed. Small interventions that prevented larger tragedies. Peterson's live stream captures this revelation. The viewer count now exceeding 200,000. Comments flood in from veterans recognizing similar patterns at their own bases. Weapons that failed just before questionable missions. Training accidents that prevented bad operators from advancing. A guardian angel they never knew existed. "Ma'am," Master Chief Torres addresses Tegan with newfound respect. "How many operations have you influenced from the shadows?" Tegan doesn't answer directly. Instead, she looks at each SEAL present. Rodriguez, you were selected for Team 3 instead of Team 7 last year. Team 7 was compromised by cartel money. They're all in prison now. You're not. Rodriguez's jaw drops. That assignment change saved his career, possibly his life. Cooper, your sniper rifle had a mechanical failure during qualifications 2 years ago. You had to reshoot the next day. The original day, Harris had arranged for an accident on the range. 3 shooters were supposed to die. You lived because of that failure. Cooper's hands shake slightly as he processes this information. Williams, Peterson, Wagner, each of you has been protected at some point. Small changes that kept you away from corrupted operations or dangerous situations that weren't what they seemed. You've been our guardian. Admiral Hale states with amazement, an invisible protector none of us knew existed. Subscribe now to see what happens when military corruption reaches the highest levels. Next week's story will shock you. Colonel Chen's team efficiently processes the scene, taking Harris and his surviving men into custody. The tunnel fills with professionals who know how to make problems disappear legally. Harris screams about immunity, about connections, about retaliation. Nobody listens. Master Chief Reeves, Chen addresses Tegan formally. Your commission was never officially terminated. You're still technically active duty, just listed as missing in action. We can restore your rank, your benefits, your identity. No. Tegan's response is immediate. Spectre stays dead. She needs to. The moment I officially exist again, every enemy she made becomes active. Every operation she ran gets scrutinized. Every asset she protected gets exposed. But we owe you everything. Rodriguez protests, surprising himself with the vehemence. You saved our lives, our careers. You've been standing watch alone for 18 years. I wasn't alone. Tegan gestures to the range above, now destroyed but being rapidly contained by hazmat teams. Every night at 0300, I walked these grounds. I heard your training, your struggles, your victories. I was part of something larger, even if you didn't know I existed. Admiral Hale steps forward. Then we continue the tradition. You remain our ghost, our guardian, but now we know you're there. We can help. The offer hangs in the air like hope. For the first time in 18 years, Tegan allows herself a small smile. It transforms her face, revealing the woman she might have been without war and betrayal. The range needs rebuilding, she observes. It'll need cleaning. We'll get you a better position, Chen insists. Instructor, advise anything you want. I want to clean. Tegan's tone brooks no argument. Cleaners see everything, hear everything, and nobody notices them. It's the perfect position for someone who needs to stay invisible while keeping watch. Master Chief Torres pulls out his tablet, already working on paperwork. I can adjust the personnel files. Tegan Caldwell, Custodial Services, with a special addendum known only to command staff. Consultant on special projects. The pay grade will reflect your actual value. Williams adds his own suggestion. We could establish a signal system. If you notice something wrong, you leave specific markers. We'll know to investigate without compromising your cover. Rodriguez, still processing his complete reversal of opinion, makes an unexpected offer. My team runs night training twice a week. If you're going to be there anyway, maybe you could observe. Point out what we're missing, like a ghost instructor. The other SEALs nod agreement. They have gone from mocking her to wanting her approval, recognizing the depth of experience hidden beneath the janitor's disguise. Before Tegan can respond, her eyes catch movement at the tunnel's far end. A figure emerges from shadows that shouldn't exist, moving with the same ghost-like precision she displays. The SEALs raise weapons, but Tegan holds up a hand. Stand down. That's Bishop. The man who emerges is 70 years old, but moves like someone half that age. His face carries scars from wars that predate most of the SEALs' births. When he sees Tegan, something passes between them. Recognition, respect, and shared understanding. So, Bishop's voice sounds like gravel over broken glass. They finally found you? They found Spectre, Tegan corrects. They haven't found the others. Others? Admiral Hale asks, but Bishop is already retreating into the shadows. We were never alone. Tegan explains carefully. Every major base has someone like me, watching, protecting, preventing the wrong people from gaining too much power. We're the immune system nobody knows exists. Chen's expression shows she understands the implications. A network of invisible guardians, all presumed dead, all maintaining security through obscurity. It's brilliant and terrifying in equal measure. The tunnel begins filling with smoke as hazmat teams pump neutralizing agents into the space. Everyone needs to evacuate to the surface for decontamination. As they move, Peterson keeps streaming, capturing this unprecedented moment. At the decontamination station, Tegan stands apart while technicians in hazmat suits scan everyone for chemical contamination. The SEALs watch her with new eyes, seeing not a janitor, but a warrior who chose exile over compromise. Harris is loaded into a secure transport, still ranting about his connections and immunity. As the vehicle passes, he locks eyes with Tegan through the window. The hatred there burns hot enough to melt steel. This isn't over. His lips form the words silently. Tegan turns away, dismissing him with the indifference reserved for threats that no longer matter. He's someone else's problem now. Her war with him ended the moment he was exposed. Master Chief, Admiral Hale approaches after decontamination. I need to know. Blackwater, what really happened? Tegan stares at the burning range in the distance, white phosphorus finally dying under chemical suppressants. For 18 years, she's held this truth alone. Now, surrounded by warriors who've proven themselves, she lets it escape. We were sent to eliminate a terrorist cell in a Pakistani village. Routine operation. But when we arrived, there were no terrorists, just families. Harris had fabricated the intelligence to justify expanding operations. When I refused the order, he triggered the contingency. Bunker busters meant for hardened targets, dropped on mud houses. The weight of memory bends her shoulders slightly. My team tried to evacuate civilians. We saved 43, lost 5 operators doing it. Harris reported it as mission success. Terrorists eliminated, operators lost to enemy action. Heroes instead of truth. And you've been paying for that heroism ever since. Chen observes. Someone had to remember them correctly. Tegan straightens. Martinez, Thompson, Chen, Washington, Patterson. They died refusing an illegal order. They died as heroes should, protecting innocents. Every floor I've mopped, every night I've watched, has been in their honor. The moment stretches, sacred in its solemnity. 21st century warriors acknowledging a sacrifice that can never be publicly recognized. Peterson's camera captures it all, though he'll later edit out the classified details at Chen's request. Dawn approaches, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. The night that started with mockery and disrespect has transformed into something else entirely. Understanding, revelation, redemption, 0600 hours. Tegan checks her watch with ingrained habit. My shift ends. Evening shift starts at 1800. You're going back to work? Rodriguez asks incredulously. After everything that's happened, the range will need extensive cleaning once it's rebuilt. She states it as fact, not intention. 18 years of routine isn't easily broken, but now we know. Cooper insists. We can help. Set up better covers, provide resources, ensure you're protected. The best protection is invisibility, Tegan counters. Today was an anomaly. Tomorrow, I go back to being nobody. That's how I've survived. That's how I keep others safe. Colonel Chen presents a sealed envelope, old and worn from years of waiting. This is for you. From General Morrison. He left it in case you ever surfaced. He never believed you were dead. Tegan accepts the envelope but doesn't open it. Some ghosts prefer their rest. The assembly begins to disperse. SEALs returning to barracks to process the night's revelations. Response teams packing up equipment. Dawn shift personnel arriving to find their training facility destroyed and rebuilt security protocols already being implemented. Through it all, Peterson's live stream continues, though the viewer count has dropped as morning routines pull people away. Those who remain witness something remarkable. Tegan walks to a supply closet that survived the destruction, pulls out a mop and bucket, and begins cleaning debris from the parking area. Ma'am, you don't have to, William starts, but I do. Tegan cuts him off gently. This is who I am now, not Spectre, not Master Chief Reeves, not Samantha, just Tegan, who keeps things clean. Rodriguez, overcome with an emotion he can't name, grabs a broom from the same closet. Then we help. One by one, the other SEALs join in. Elite warriors who've never cleaned anything beyond their personal weapons, sweeping debris alongside a ghost who saved their lives without their knowledge. It's absurd and profound simultaneously. Admiral Hale watches from a distance, his phone already buzzing with calls from Pentagon officials who've seen the live stream. He ignores them all, focusing instead on the woman who defined service in ways that transcend medals and recognition. 3 hours later, the parking area is spotless. The SEALs disperse to their duties, each carrying the weight of new knowledge. They've learned that heroes don't always wear uniforms, that sacrifice isn't always visible, that protection can come from the most unexpected sources. Tegan loads her equipment into the same maintenance van she's driven for 18 years. Before leaving, she turns to Admiral Hale one last time. "The ones who trained here over the years," she says quietly. "Tell them they were watched over. Tell them someone cared enough to keep them safe, even when they didn't know they needed protection. Every one of them will know." Hale promises. "Your story won't be forgotten." "My story doesn't matter," Tegan corrects. "Their stories do. The ones who trained clean, served with honor, and went home to their families because someone was watching. That's the only legacy that counts." She drives away as the sun fully rises, disappearing into morning traffic like any other night shift worker heading home. The van's taillights fade into distance, carrying a ghost back into shadows where she's most effective. But something has fundamentally changed. The SEALs who witnessed this night will never look at custodial staff the same way. They'll notice the quiet professionals who maintain their spaces. They'll understand that sometimes the most dangerous person in the room is the one everyone ignores. A week later, the range is rebuilt with state-of-the-art equipment and enhanced security measures. Every night at 0300 hours, a figure in coveralls appears to clean brass casings and wipe down equipment. The night training teams see her, nod respectfully, and continue their drills. Sometimes they notice things. A weapon that's been perfectly maintained despite no official servicing. A targeting system that's been recalibrated to perfection. A safety issue corrected before it could become dangerous. Small interventions that keep them safe. Rodriguez starts a tradition. Every SEAL who trains at night leaves a challenge coin on the bench, not for recognition or acknowledgement, but as a signal. "We know you're here, we know you're watching, we're grateful." The coins disappear by morning, replaced by gleaming clean surfaces that reflect more than just light. They reflect a truth learned in darkness and confirmed in fire. That service comes in many forms. That heroes don't always need recognition. That sometimes the greatest warrior is the one who chooses to hold a mop instead of a rifle. 6 months pass. Harris's trial makes headlines briefly before being classified. His network gets dismantled quietly, professionally, with minimal collateral damage. The corruption he represented is cauterized like a wound, preventing spread. But in a small office at Langley, analysts notice patterns, other bases reporting similar interventions. Weapons failing just before questionable operations, training accidents that prevent wrong people from advancing, a network of ghosts, all presuming dead, all maintaining watch. The director of special operations reads these reports with growing understanding. He drafts a single memorandum, eyes only, need to know. It contains just 3 words: let them work. At Coronado, evening falls on another training cycle. SEALs prepare their weapons, check their equipment, begin their drills. They're focused on becoming better warriors, better protectors of democracy and freedom. And in the shadows, moving between firing positions with a mop and bucket, a ghost continues her watch. Not for glory or recognition, but because someone needs to. Because 18 years ago, 5 men died believing that protecting innocence mattered more than following illegal orders. Their sacrifice echoes in every brass casing that hits the ground. Every shot fired in training prevents one fired in anger. Every SEAL who goes home safe carries forward a legacy they're only beginning to understand. The range lights illuminate targets at distance, but the real target has always been closer. The corruption within, the temptation of power, the slow erosion of principles that turns heroes into villains. Against these threats, a janitor wages war with mop and bucket, challenge coin, and careful observation. It's not glorious, it's not celebrated, but it's necessary. As midnight approaches, Tegan pauses in her cleaning to look at the stars visible through San Diego's light pollution. Somewhere up there, her fallen team might be watching. Martinez, Thompson, Chen, Washington, Patterson, names on no memorial wall, heroes and no official record. "I'm still here," she whispers to the night, still watching, still cleaning up the messes. A young SEAL, fresh from Bud's training, walks past and notices her standing there. He He almost makes a joke about the janitor stargazing on duty. Then he sees something in her posture, the way she holds herself, the distance in her eyes. Instead, he stops and salutes. Not the casual acknowledgement of a civilian, but the crisp, precise salute given to superior officers. He doesn't know why. It just feels right. Tegan returns the salute with equal precision, a ghost briefly becoming solid before fading back into shadows. The young SEAL continues to his training, not knowing he just exchanged honors with a legend. The cycle continues, night after night, year after year, a guardian in coveralls, protecting those who protect others. It's not the life Spectre would have chosen, but it's the life Tegan has made meaningful. And somewhere in the darkness between 0300 and 0600 hours, between the last shot fired and the first light of dawn, Justice keeps watch with a mop in her hand and 18 years of secrets in her heart. The hours when most of the world sleeps are when truth reveals itself in the smallest actions. Each sweep of her broom carries the weight of decisions that saved lives without fanfare. Each brass casing she collects represents a shot that will be fired with precision rather than corruption, training that will build warriors instead of mercenaries. The range never sleeps, neither does its guardian. The concrete remembers every footstep, every dropped magazine, every whispered confession in the dark. And Tegan remembers too. She knows which young SEAL struggles with the weight of his first kill, leaving his rifle just a little too long at the cleaning station, hoping someone will notice his pain. She adjusts the scope on his weapon ever so slightly, knowing the improved accuracy will restore his confidence. She knows which lieutenant drinks before night training, the smell of whiskey barely masked by mint. His weapon mysteriously develops consistent malfunctions until he gets help. Small interventions, invisible guidance. And every SEAL who trains there carries a piece of that protection forward, spreading it like ripples from a stone dropped in still water. Rodriguez now looks twice at every person he meets, understanding that strength doesn't announce itself. He teaches his squad to respect the support staff, the cleaners, the cooks, not from politeness, but from hard-earned wisdom that anyone could be more than they appear. Peterson deleted his social media accounts, understanding finally that broadcasting everything blinds you to what truly matters. Williams started a mentorship program for troubled recruits, inspired by the idea that someone unseen had guided his own path away from darkness. The tradition of challenge coins left on benches spreads to other ranges, other bases. Nobody explains why. The gesture simply feels right, an acknowledgement that guardian angels might wear coveralls instead of wings. Young SEALs who never met Tegan still follow the unspoken rule: respect everyone, judge no one, assume nothing. Because somewhere in their training, an instructor who learned from Rodriguez or Cooper or Williams passes on the lesson without naming its source. This is how legacies really work. Not in grand gestures or public recognition, but in quiet service sustained over decades. Not in medals pinned to chests or names etched in marble, but in the accumulated weight of 10,000 small mercies. Every catastrophe prevented leaves no trace. Every life saved from corruption continues forward, touching other lives in ways that can't be measured or mapped. Tegan's true monument isn't built of stone, but of all the families who still have their fathers, all the communities that weren't devastated by illegal operations, all the young operators who stayed clean because their weapons failed at precisely the right moment. In choosing to protect rather than profit, in standing watch when no one knows you're there, she embodies a form of heroism that Hollywood can't capture and social media can't commodify. It's the heroism of showing up every night for 18 years, of choosing invisibility over recognition, of accepting that the highest form of service might be holding a mop while others hold rifles. Because someone has to keep the foundation clean. Someone has to ensure that those who train for war don't become corrupted by it. The story ends where it began, with a woman cleaning a military gun range. But now we know the truth. She's not cleaning up after warriors. She's keeping them clean, maintaining not just their weapons, but their honor, not just their equipment, but their integrity. Every night, she wages a war against the slow erosion that turns protectors into predators. And she wins, one brass casing at a time, one adjusted sight at a time, one saved life at a time. The other ghosts Bishop mentioned continue their own watches at bases around the world. Former operators declared dead, maintaining their vigil from the shadows. They recognize each other through subtle signs. The way a janitor checks a door frame, how a cook holds a knife, the pattern a groundskeeper walks. They never meet, never coordinate, yet they form an invisible network of conscience that keeps the military's soul from rotting from within. Honor isn't loud. It sweeps up quietly at 3 a.m., keeping watch over those who never know they're being protected. It doesn't demand thanks or recognition. It simply continues, night after night, year after year, decade after decade, and in the silence between heartbeats, between breaths, between shots. A ghost continues her work, forever faithful, forever vigilant, forever invisible.
The stories end here, but the journey continues. Many new episodes are waiting for you. And if you enjoy, please take a moment to like, subscribe to our